Hey Men and Warriors, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel where I share a weekly video with you every Monday about something related to menopause. Today I'm talking about menopause and the midlife crisis because it is a natural stage of our life. Most of us go through it. Not necessarily a crisis, but midlife and that desire to reevaluate where we're at. I think it's a very healthy part of our lives. I think it's something that we can turn into positives. And today I'm going to sort of explain why you might be going through a midlife crisis, what crisis actually means, and also giving you positive ways to take where you are at right now and make it into the best possible resolution for the rest of whatever you have left. So I hope this is going to be helpful. Midlife crisis is a psychological phenomenon. Obviously, menopause is more of a sort of it's a physiological problem. It's down to our changing sex hormones. And obviously the symptoms that come along with that, some of them are psychological symptoms. It affects us emotionally. But the midlife crisis really is more of a sort of an existential crisis. It's a questioning, a reevaluation, and we can actually move through from our midlife evaluation with a much more positive frame of mind when we actually understand the things that might be giving us cause for concern. And just know that is still so much that you can achieve. So I hope that today is going to be helpful for you. I want it to be a positive, something that you take away positives from. And firstly, I mean, midlife really is a period of self-reflection. We often find that we question ourselves. Have we achieved what we wanted to achieve? Popular culture really does portray the stereotypical man with the nubile accessory next to him in his brand new sports car. I mean, that does happen. Of course it happens. But that individual is also going through his own little sort of existential crisis. We all have different ways of dealing with these things, and I think it's really important to understand that when we get to this stage, it is a normal stage of development. Incidentally, as I've been doing some research for this, there is also really what I would call the quarter life crisis as well. It's not just the 40, 50, 60-year-olds who are going through this period of their life. Some of the stuff I was reading for this, there are 20-year-olds who are feeling absolutely unsure about where they want to be. I think also with COVID, COVID, when it first happened, it was all a bit scary. It was obviously just life-changing on so many levels for people who lost loved ones through COVID, and the way the governments reacted. And I'm not going to get into all the politics of it at all. Do any of us really know what all the politics were either? But it meant a lot of people were evaluating their lives. A lot of people were forced to work from home, and really, I think it gave a lot of us that opportunity to think, actually, is this really what I want in my life? Do I want to go and work that corporate ladder? When we're born, I think particularly my generation, your generation largely, we're born and we're sort of all handed this sort of like metaphorical map that, you'll go to school, you'll learn to read and write, you'll get some qualifications, which will open the next door to you possibly going to higher education. You might go to university, you might then go and do a master's, you might get your PhD, you'll come out, you'll get a job, that might be in the corporate world, it might be running your own business. And then one day you'll get to X, and point X means you've really reached the apex of all your success. And that point X never really arrives. Yes, we get to the stage where you think, holy crap, I should have done it by now. And the amount of people that I have spoken to and also read accounts of that really still haven't got to that point X. And point X has changed along the way as well. So, when you look at it in the future, you think, oh yes, okay, so I've got the house, I've got the family, I've got the belongings, I've got that security, I've got the health. But then what does it actually mean to you? And even when you get there, sometimes the people who got there, they've got there at the expense of relationships with their family because they've worked so bloody hard, or they've prioritized family and they've not worked quite hard enough, so they don't have that financial future, or they've not had, I think work hard enough is the wrong way of saying it in actual fact. They've just not pursued the career that has enabled them to have that financial security. I know people who they leave home at sort of 4:30, they get into the city, they work very long hours, they're back home by 9 o'clock. Yes, they have the wealth, they have the cars, they have the homes, but they hardly ever see their family. And there's often a price that we're paying, and that, you know, one thing isn't better than the other. What I also want to highly suggest that you stop doing is comparing yourself to other people's highlight reels or other people's lives, because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know what's going on in somebody's brain. They may have it all on paper, you know, the successful life, but you don't know that. And even if they do, for you to be comparing yourself to that person or to those friends and individuals, it's not going to do you any favors at all. The most important thing eventually is that you recognize where you're at in your life, and you use it to reevaluate where you want to go, because there is always time to course correct. There are always things that you can start today in order to create the future that you want to achieve for yourself. And I don't think any of us know or knew how we would get to where we go. And some of us didn't even know that we needed to go where we went, if that makes sense. But that point X is you now, it's me now, it's our journey. There is never an end. It's the day of our death. But our journey still goes on beyond that. Our legacy, what we leave, what we create, the memories that you're creating right now, that still goes on after our human life is finished. And, you know, without getting into the sort of afterlife and the spiritual conversation, which I have very, very strong beliefs about, you know, there is still so much more we can achieve, and we can leave behind legacies and memories that live on way beyond, you know, once we've turned to dust, as it were. So I think it's important to understand that factors that lead to a midlife crisis or a midlife reevaluation, I would say crisis is when you probably need to talk to somebody professional about it. It's having a negative impact on your mental health. It's having a negative impact on the family and loved ones around you. Midlife reevaluation is how I prefer to regard it as, and I think it's something that we should all do. In my business, I do a 3-month reevaluate. Every month I reevaluate, but I do a deep reevaluation every 3 months to make sure that I am where I want to be. And often I'm not, but by doing it on a 3-monthly basis rather than a 12-monthly basis, I get a chance to course correct much more regularly than if I did on a 12-month basis. And I highly recommend you take this period of your life to do some serious reevaluating as well. You'll find that the first half of our life is very much geared towards getting those achievements that we think we need to get in order to be successful. And the second half of our life tends to be much more of a sort of an inward journey. So we're stripping off that stuff that we thought we had to have, and we're reevaluating and realizing that actually, unless your purpose, your beliefs, your identity is tied into how you show up in life, you will never feel fulfilled. It really is about allowing yourself to discover who you authentically are, without all the clutter, without the gizmos and the gadgets and the belongings. What really makes you tick? What fills you with joy? What are your top values? I think the majority of us have a fear of mortality. The more people are afraid of the process of dying rather than of death itself. So they're afraid of, does it hurt? Is it frightening? Rather than the actual end result, you know, the last moment of your conscious awareness. More people are afraid of the build up to that moment. I talk about death a lot. Working in hospice, we've lost a lot of family members over the years, and death itself doesn't frighten me in the slightest. I always say to my kids, look, you know, if one day I don't come home, please know I wasn't afraid when, you know, I was going through that dying process. I would obviously I would not want to leave them yet. I will never want to leave them. But death in and of itself is something that was going to happen to us all. So why be afraid of it? It's just going to happen one day. And maybe we get another shot at it. I don't know. But regardless of that, why live in the fear of it? Because we can't change that it's going to happen. We can probably maybe reduce the risks of it happening. But I remember I was walking through the house one day. We lived in this big old house. We had huge roof slates. And I'd just come back from shopping, and I was walking through the entrance door with I've got Joseph in a buggy and Ella on the back of the buggy, and you know, on one of those little standing platforms. And literally, the thing must have been coming off the roof as we walked down into the sort of entrance hall, and it fell directly. When the slate hit the concrete, it splattered my legs with broken bits of slate. It was that close. That thing would have killed the three of us in an instant. And so, you know, you go around your life thinking, oh, better avoid this, better avoid that, hadn't better do that, it's a bit risky. Things happen. That miraculously we were okay. Second later, we wouldn't have been. And so, you know, we worry so much about stuff happening. Just get on and embrace the life that you've got. Death will happen one day, without a shadow of a doubt. Let's hope it doesn't come too soon. But sometimes just put your energy into living life while you can, and then just when death happens, it happens. But don't let it leach into your enjoyment of your life now. The more you allow fear to keep you stuck, the more you will compound not doing things. You will, you know, if you're feeling a bit stuck now, and you might be isolating yourself a bit, you might be having negative relationships with people, and you know, just not allowing a relationship to become freer, so you're not having those conversations because you actually just can't be bothered, or you're ambivalent, or you don't like the people that you're with anymore, or you're shutting people out. That is not going to improve. This can be a hard process, but it's a process that is well worth doing because it will free you ultimately to achieve the life that you want. So right at the moment, we look back and we think, you know, did you want to have children and then you didn't have them? Did you want the career but you had children? We can't change what's happened in the past. For instance, if you didn't have kids, you can still work with kids. You could work with, you know, vulnerable children. You can work for a child's charity. You could, if you're a godparent, you could become more active in your godchildren, you know, your what they call godchild. I'm never a godparent, godchild, your godchild's life. What is the phrase? What's the terminology? I have no idea. I'm not a godparent. I always wanted to be somebody's godparent. I love kids. I have never been asked. I'm a bit ashamed about that. Maybe they think I'd be too scary, but I would love to be a godparent. I absolutely adore kids, but anyway, I just never had that chance. So you'll find, you know, have you traveled enough? Are you regretting the fact you never traveled? Are you regretting the fact that you married somebody out of convenience rather than love? Are you regretting the fact that you didn't party enough? Are you regretting the fact that you partied too much and now you're thinking, holy heck, you know, where do I go from here? There's a lot of people that I talk to who are on this continuous, and they've been in it for years. You know, they're going on spiritual retreats. Nothing wrong with going on spiritual retreats. I think that would be fantastic. And I do think actually that is part of your inner journey, which I'll come on to in a little minute. But, you know, you can read all the books, you can go on all the retreats, but until you actually really start to question deep down why, because only you have the answer. Nobody can tell you what the answer is. You know that deep down, and you have to sit with that and reflect on it. Not for too long either. You know, we tend to live in this culture at the moment, which we've got sort of like loose and flabby. You know, we've sort of got, oh, well, yeah, it's really important to have rest days and take days off. And it is, but you've got to have the action days as well. You can't just allow that to be the narrative of the rest of your life. Rest days are important when they are balanced against the do days as well. And we've sort of moved to this extreme of anti-hard work. Nobody gets anywhere without putting some concerted effort in. And this is going to be one of my points in a moment as well, is surround yourself with people who are doing the stuff that you want to do. Surround yourself with the believers. Surround yourself with the people who are living the life that you want to live, because I promise you that will help to keep you accountable. So many people say, oh, I'm going to go and quit my job. And you'll say, or people around them might say, oh, great, yeah, good for you. Okay, well, do you know what you're going to do next? Or what, you know, what do you want to do instead? And then you know, it'll phase out. But if you're surrounding yourself with believers and people who take action on what they say, they're going to be saying, so, okay, when are you quitting it? Have you handed in your notice yet? Have you handed in your notice yet? I'll see them next time. Did you hand in your notice? What job are you going to go? What are you looking for? And do you have to get any new skill sets? Did you hand in your notice? And it's going to keep you accountable when you're surrounding yourself with people who do take action on what they say. I know so many people say, oh, I'm going to write a book. That book never bloody comes to fruition. But if you're surrounding yourself by people who've done that and who believe in what they say and take action on what they say, rather than thinking, oh, I'm a little bit tired today, I think I'll just take another day off. We're going to be saying, when did you write that book? When's the book finished? When are you going to publish it? And when you surround yourself around people like that, they're going to help to keep you accountable. You are the average of the 5 or 6 people, however many it is, of the people that you spend time with. And it is absolutely true. If you're hanging around people who are stuck and who have no motivation to improve their life, change the people that you're hanging out with if you want something different for your life. If you're hanging out with the people already who are going to do that or are achieving that life that you want, listen to what they're saying. What are the words they're using? What are they doing? Ask them what they're doing. So many of us don't ask. There's this lovely story that I came across, and it was this guy who was he was Spanish, might even have been Mexican in actual fact, in the States, and he hadn't got a visa, so he needed to have a full-time job so that he could get a visa to I think stay in the States. And he came across this guy who was, he knew, he was one of those people that do things. And he said to me, if you've got any work, I need to be able to get a job in order so I can keep my visa or renew my visa, however it works over there. And this guy said, well, no, not really, but what's your skill set? He says, I'm an amazing designer. I've got really great design credentials. And so this guy would say, well, actually, I'm just finishing a book that I'm writing. I haven't got anybody to design my book cover. Let me have a look at your website. So I had to look at this guy's website. Website was actually really, really good. So he asked this guy to design his book cover, which turned out amazingly. But also the guy, so the Mexican, the man he asked, he said, have you got anybody else that you know that I might be able to help? So he put it on his Facebook saying, this fella from Mexico is a great designer. Anybody need any design assistance? And there was this new startup. There were 3 people in it, but none of them had any. They needed a designer, and they didn't have the design expertise that they needed. So this guy the Mexican ends up working for them. 18 months down the line, that company got bought out. There were 4 of them, got bought out by Yahoo for over $80 million. There were 4 of them in that company. So this Mexican, gets in touch with the guy whose book cover he designed. He said, I need to take you out for dinner. So the guy with the book cover goes, yeah, great, okay, I'm an author, but authors don't make an awful lot of money unless they're incredibly lucky. Wow, yeah, okay, great, going out for dinner. They go out for dinner. He says, why are you taking me out for dinner? I don't understand. He said, the Mexican said, I have to thank you so much. And the book writer said, well, why? I don't understand. Told him this story about the Yahoo buyout. And the amazing thing was the guy who wrote the book, he said, it's not down to me that you should be thanking. You shouldn't be thanking me. You should be thanking yourself, because you asked me, who at the time was a complete stranger to you, because you knew you needed to get your visa to stay in the States. And it's just by you taking action and doing the hard work and asking the question for help that you got this lucky break, that you've achieved this life that you wanted to achieve, that you're now being able to take me out for dinner. What a great story is that? And so few of us ask. We all stay stuck. We're almost like so proud. It's just like, oh no, I'm better ask for help, because otherwise they'll think I'm really needy, or they'll realize that I'm not doing as well as I thought I was. So really take this opportunity to consider the parts of your life that you might want to change for the better. Are you in a relationship that is unfulfilling to you? Do not stay stuck in a bloody relationship just for finance. The amount of people I talk to, especially as a therapist, who They hate the relationships they're in, but they stay stuck because of the financial security. But that financial security comes at such a great cost. It comes at the cost of their emotional health, their mental health, their life satisfaction. They're waiting for their significant other half to die so that they can finally have a life of freedom. That's not living a life of freedom. That's not living a life of happiness. There is so much you can achieve. And I know you get to midlife and you're thinking, I've not earned the money that I wanted to earn. I'm stuck in this busy job that I can't get out of. I think probably 99% of the women that and the men, the women and men that I work with, we all started doing what we're doing now, so helping other people with their health and wellness, when we all had full-time jobs. People say to me, I don't have time to take something else on. Just like, of course you do. It doesn't need an awful lot. You start with a small amount of taking action, but when your purpose is tied into it, you'll bloody do anything to keep up with it. To be able to wake up in the morning with excitement, to be able to go to bed at night thinking, to have a life that fulfills you, that gives you energy. And yet eventually then you can quit the other job that you don't like and focus on the job that you do love, that gives you the purpose, that aligns with your values, that helps you leave a legacy, that helps you help more people, if you want to do that. So there is always something that you can do. And I think this is a great opportunity for you to really dig deep and think, okay, what actually do I want to achieve? You don't have to give the job a label, but what's important to you? You know, for me, I love helping people. I'm an Enneagram 2. I'm sometimes an Enneagram 3 with wing 7. So that's basically somebody who loves helping people. I do things. I'm an action taker and I like having fun. And that's exactly how my life is summed up. Health is one of my top values. Integrity is one of my top values. As a therapist, it's really important that I'm honest with people, and I carry that through into my online health and wellness business. That you have to know what your values are, your top 3 values, and then make sure that you are then aligning those in some sort of career that matches those values. And there is so much that you can do. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to go to the factory to work for 10 hours a day in order to just earn enough to be able to cover your grocery shopping these days, if you're lucky. There are so many online opportunities. If you look at what I do and think, I think I'd quite like to do what she does, just message me. I will share what I do with you completely informally. I'll just send you some information. You know, the other thing you can do is if you have that financial security already, if you're thinking, no, I just want to find something that gives a bit of joy back to my life, gives me a bit more fun, because the amount of middle-aged people that I talk to who no longer have any fun, apart from at the bottom of a bottle, which is not a healthy way of having fun either. I've got nothing against wine, beer and whiskey. I love them. But you don't want to be numbing how you're feeling because you're feeling low. You want to be enjoying a glass of wine because you just enjoy a glass of wine, not because of the numbing effect it has on you. How about joining a dance club? You don't have to have a partner to go and join a dance club. Find a partner there. Join a book club. Join a hiking club. Do a walking club. You know, what interests you? 70% of people in the Western world are disengaged with the jobs that they have. You know, millions of people wake up every single day and hate the job that they have. And we work so much of our lives. You know, I keep going back to work, but work is a fundamental part. Is it giving you financial security? Are you enjoying it? Because if it's a no to both of those, bloody change it. With menopause also, you'll find that you're going through your own physical and mental, emotional crises. It might not be crisis, but you're still having that imbalance of hormones. You're still feeling uncomfortable in your skin. Some people really struggle with their anxiety through menopause. Your sleep is being affected negatively. You might be having joint pain. You're losing your looks. You're getting more wrinkly. And as nice as it is to say, oh, I'm just going to age gracefully or disgracefully, we're still aging. And we've been brought up in a society that really does not relish or value getting older. And it can be hard. You know, you might look in your wardrobe and 10 years ago you loved what was in it, and now you put the things on and you just think, I don't even feel comfortable in that anymore. And it's hard. These are only little things. They're not like sort of life or death situations, but compounded when there's lots of them going on. You know, maybe your energy level's not so good. You might be putting on weight around the middle, and that can knock your confidence. You know, you might be having elderly, aging parents that you're looking after, and it's horrible thinking that your parents are getting older. We're all getting older, but you just don't want that era to end. And it is hard. It can be really, really tough. And when you've got all of these things going on together at the same time, plus your hormones, which are causing havoc and not making you feel very happy, it can be really, really challenging. Throw midlife, like the crises into it as well, and you've got a sort of hodgepodge of real difficulties to step through. So I would highly suggest just take a step back, embrace the fact that you've got this far. There are so many of us who haven't managed to get this far. Getting older is a real honor. How we get older is up to us. There are things that we can do to help our health, help our energy levels, help our hormone balance naturally, to change the trajectory of your life. So if you want to change it, and you know, if you need to create the financial freedom, if you need to create your health, if you need to redefine what life means to you, just do it. Get out a piece of paper, sit down and brainstorm what is important to you. And don't worry about the name of the job that might be, or the place where you might live, or how that looks. Just brainstorm, just dump blah onto paper, so that you can then see what is important to you, and then work out a way to achieve that. You know, you might need to go and chat to a therapist just to help you work your way through it, because it can be a bit like a ball of wool with not lots of knots in it, and you're not entirely sure where to go and how to get through it. And if you've got a lot of things that you need to start to focus on or to change, just start with one, and make sure that one gives you a sense of purpose, fills you with energy, and also gives you an element of fun. Because so many of our lives these days are lacking in fun. And what's the point if life is no longer any fun? Your life should be joyous. It doesn't have to be joyous all the time, but you need to have those joyous moments in it. And so how do you find this purpose as well? Just stop comparing yourself to other people. Brain dump what is important to you, what matters to you. And remember that nobody has it figured out. We're all just failing forward. None of us know what the correct path is. None of us knows what tomorrow will bring. So just start. You don't need to have the blueprint with everything mapped out. Just start. How can you align your unique gifts to lead a life that's best for you? Not a life that is best for your friend or for your significant other. What is really important to you? You know, what makes you tick? And then start to take action, because that is really, really important. You have to work hard on the things that matter the most to you and make the ask. Each life means something. We all have something to contribute back into our life. We all have a different gift that we can offer the world. And you will never find your peace and your contentment until you uncover what that gift is and start offering it. When you find your purpose, you will start to live consciously and less reactively. And I think something that a lot of us do is we're always responding reactively. You know, life is just slipping away from us, and we're somehow trying to scrabble on that slope. When you know your purpose, when you know what you want to achieve, when you know vaguely the direction you want to go in, you're then showing up consciously and taking considered actions to achieve that life that you want to achieve. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's given you a sense of hope and for you to have belief in yourself. Surround yourself with people who are going to help you achieve where you want to go. Do your brainstorming, and I'd be really interested to hear in the comments if you found this helpful. Please give a thumbs up. But how have you reevaluated your life? What is a struggle that you've had to overcome to actually move forward and achieve a life that is in alignment with your values? And do you even know what your values are? If I said to you, what are your 3 top values now? What are they? So anyway, I could talk, there is so much to say on this subject, and I hope I've not gone on for too long, but thank you for your company, and I will look forward to chatting to you again soon.